What is up, NPD fans? This is Gage, aka TLOUPT1, coming at you with the little PSN? I wanted to say PSN. PSA before this episode. So this was my first time running the stream, kind of on the fly, last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess now, while Jacob was off doing some family stuff. So I had a bunch of audio issues and a bunch of technical difficulties throughout this episode. So unfortunately, my video bitrate had a big crash on my computer halfway through the episode, and the second whole half is all messed up. And the first half has a really low frame rate, and it's really hard to watch. So I'm gonna just be doing audio only format for this week's podcast. So I'm sorry about that. There's gonna be a little visualizer for you. So if you want to have the podcast up on YouTube, it'll still be something interesting to look at and in the background for you. So I'm sorry this happened. We're learning, we're figuring it out, but thanks for being patient with us while we do, and we're just going to keep getting better and better. So enjoy episode 13 of the Neon Pocket Dimension with special guest Sam. We talk about all sorts of cool stuff, and it's still a great episode. Also, at the very end, there is some audio clipping issues. I did what I could to edit that in post, but that's just the way it goes. So I did my best to try and salvage everything from this episode, and I apologize to my co-hosts who were on it about the whole scenario. But here we go. We keep moving forward. We keep learning. That's what this is all about, right? We're having fun. So enjoy episode 13 of the Neon Pocket Dimension. This week, it's the three of us. What's up, everybody?
Guys.
At some point, the transition is going to happen. Yeah, there we go. What's up, everybody? It's Neon Pocket Dimension. My name is Gage Luke, and I'm taking the hot seat for Jacob this week. He's off doing some cool family stuff, hanging with some people. But we are here, partying hardy. And I am joined by my co-host, Boxcar Miguel. Say hi.
Sorry.
Hey there, hi there. And special guest this week, Samuel Rivera. Introduce yourself. I know, my guy. Yeah, you, Samuel. What's up? Or is it Sam or Samuel? How do you like to be called?
Sam is fine.
Sam is good.
I was here like 2 weeks ago, but my name is Sam. I am an amateur streamer, as in I'm starting to get everything ready for that, streaming soon. Avid gamer, amateur writer, and comic book designer and all that. So amateur, a lot of stuff, nerdy stuff.
Hey, that's how we do.
And D&D nerd, so I'm just all around nerdy.
Hey, that's what we like right here. No problem. That's awesome. And you gotta do it on your own before someone pays you to do it and get fully there. And it's all good. That's what we're here for. So for people who don't know, this is Neon Pocket Dimension. We're a weekly podcast where we talk all things video games, pretty much nerdy stuff like sandwich episodes, all of the above. We're live Wednesdays, usually at 7 o'clock. Like I said, this is my first time on the decks, on the ones and twos, producing while we go. So I had some technical difficulties. We had real job stuff coming the way. So thanks for bearing with us. But we're here now. We're having a good time. This is gonna be a sectors episode, so we're gonna do some Wibe New. We're gonna talk about some topics and do some endorsements. Of course, we're gonna try and make it snappy for you since we're a little later in the evening. Check us out on twitch.tv/Neon Pocket Dimension. If you're there now, then you know the business. And then if you want to catch it later, we'll have a VOD on YouTube. That's going to be on the Odd Valley main channel, but just search Neon Pocket Dimension. I swear will come up. And finally, for housekeeping, follow us on Twitter. That's at NPD Squad, and you'll see when we go live, as well as game streaming. We're going to be doing some stuff this weekend, continuing to get some game streaming going. So that should be fun. Maybe with some of the X to Interact guys who are our friends over there on that channel. Yeah, I know he's got a bunch of streaming plans going on this weekend. So check it out. We're going to be doing some different stuff like that. But yeah, enough housekeeping for the time being. We're going to jump right into Wibe New. And if you don't know what Vibe New is, that is what you have been nerding out on. Uh-oh. I'm messing around with Windows. Here we go. Producing on the fly.
You can see my cat. I'm sorry.
Hey, the cats are always welcome. Dogs are always welcome. No problem. Oops, not that one. Man, it gives me a new respect for Jacob, how he produces this stuff on the fly. I'm feeling like I owe him a little extra props.
It's had quite a bit of practice, so it's okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But nevertheless, I'm always like, all right, he keeps talking and the whole thing at the same time. It's a whole thing.
I feel like he needs someone to do the producing for him.
That'd be cool. You know.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neat.
That's a whole thing though. That's a whole extra body. Cool. So I'm gonna start with you, Miguel. What you been nerding out on this week?
This week, well, it's been a lot of work. So
Yeah, I feel that.
this weekend I ended up watching it's a Amazon Prime show called Night Sky.
Oh, I've heard of it, but I have not watched it yet.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. I've seen it yet either.
I liked it. It was good. My only issue is that apparently they canceled it. So
Already? Dang it.
they are
doing
it for a
DC
second
now.
season, which sucks because I actually really enjoyed it. I like J.K. Simmons a lot generally.
Me too.
So it was cool to see him in that. The concept I thought was pretty neat. They could have gone a lot of places with it, and I'm a little disappointed that it got canceled.
Yeah, it always sucks when you get like one season through or even just like halfway through a season and then that's that. You're like, oh man, come on now.
I agree.
But there are times that you go through one season, like, yeah, this needed one season, there needs to come back. A.K.A. the Resident Evil Netflix show. Oh, good lord.
I have heard. I almost bit on that one, and then I decided. I was just not going to do it.
I'll save the trouble. I felt bad for the person who played Wesker. I felt bad.
Oh no.
Because he's a great actor. I love him as a villain. I love him as like that ambiguous person. It felt weird seeing him as Wesker.
I feel it.
Again, this is not because of race, because of the fact that seeing him with that accent and with who he was is like, no, Wesker is the biggest like evil person you could ever meet. He has no feeling. Why are you being a suburban dad?
Yeah.
In this show, it's not right.
Yeah, like they're trying to humanize this like big evil genius. You're like, I don't know. He's kind of a cartoon character villain. He always has been.
Yeah.
For like teenage girls.
Oh yeah, that's it. It was like, oh, we're gonna add this teenage girl, CW bullcrap. I'm like, oh.
There's nothing wrong with that necessarily, but I was not a big fan. I watched the whole thing because you get invested to a point, and like I put the time in. You might as well finish it. And it was meh.
Yeah.
As someone who like plays the games, loves the lore, like I was cringing at things, especially when they reference Resident Evil 5, and then it's like, so you're gonna reference 5, but you're not gonna reference 6. Okay, I get that, but at the same time, you reference 5.
Yeah.
Of all things.
It's been a long time since I played 5. I remember at the time having fun with it, but I remember it went like super bonkers at one point, and I was just, that's all right, but I was just, I was like, yeah, it went deep down the deep end.
I'm pretty sure it went bonkers after the first chapter. It went bonkers.
Yeah, the first chapter I remember like you're in Africa, right, or something, and like I remember like you're in this one spot with all the crates, and there's like all the zombies coming, and I remember that being a cool scene, and then afterwards it went pretty crazy, but.
Yeah, sadly that also had a lot of controversy as well. If you remember, that was also around the time that Capcom was viewed as racism because you're shooting, you're in Africa shooting people who are infected with disease.
I feel
in
you.
Africa, which around that time I think it had West Nile, and I think the Ebola plague hit them as well at the same time.
Not a good look. I feel you.
Yeah, it was just the right timing for that one. I remember, like, again, lore nerd right there. I was like, ooh. So they had to change a little bit of delay it until the vaccine and stuff came out to where they were able to like push it out as best they could.
Totally. Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, so rest in peace, Night Sky. It was a sci-fi show, right?
Yes.
I gotta look it up now.
Well,
I liked it.
did season 1 end on enough of like a final note that you think it could stand alone as its own little piece, or no?
It was definitely like left like, hey, there's more stuff going on here, and then yeah.
Oh no, bummer.
So it's pretty
No.
shitty in that regard, but it's one of those shows that I don't think that's gonna. I have a hard time believing anyone would pick it up to finish it.
Yeah, totally.
I mean,
So
uh,
I mean, it's probably just going to be a one-off, and if you have, it's sort of like Tales from the Loop. I don't know if you guys watched that or not. That was also.
Oh yeah, I liked the first season of that.
That was a
I've
really
heard
good
of
show,
it.
I thought. Apparently. Oh, what was that, Tim?
I said I've heard of it. I've heard mixed results. Like people liked it, people didn't like it. It was like confusing, or it was like it's whatever. Like I've heard that. Like I'll watch it when I want to watch it. Never got time to it.
I would recommend it. I personally enjoyed it.
Me too.
I thought it was a good show. I would like to see another season, but who knows? And I mean, also considering that the show was made out of what was it? Like an art book, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I
Like a Swedish art book.
yeah, it looks kind of like some of that kind of like Russo or like Swedish like. There's like a couple of tabletop games in that sort of area where it's like farmers out in like cold snowfields with big mechs and stuff. Like it was pretty cool. I liked it a lot.
Oh yeah, that sounds like my alley. That reminds me of Lost Planet. Like levels of like fun.
Yeah, for sure. I could have seen that. Like if someone picks that up, it was an Amazon show too. Also, right? I think it was right. Yeah, me and my wife watched that. It was good. Anyways, anything else? Anything else from you, Miguel? Oh, sorry. Go for it.
That was pretty much it this weekend as far as the wide new. I did that, and I just kind of hung out and
Heck yeah.
just other stuff.
You've been playing any games? You still on that Skyrim kick or not? Or not really? Sable bound?
I was playing Sable while I was waiting for tonight.
Oh, I feel
But,
it.
I didn't play any games really this weekend. Oh no, I'm with you. I started a playthrough of Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Oh, cool. Did you start from the beginning?
Yeah,
Nice.
starting with the Mass Effect 1.
Heck yeah.
It's a little it's hard
Yeah.
as far as gameplay goes to go back to the first one after playing through to the third,
Totally.
but it'll be fine. I'll get through it. It's one of my favorite games anyway. So.
Yeah, Mass Effect 2 was much easier once you get to the. You're like, all right, now I can hurdle and I can like the shooting gets a little tighter. It definitely improves.
I'm gonna make you guys cringe by saying the following. I only played Andromeda.
That doesn't make me cringe. I had only played Andromeda until I played the Legendary Edition, and I actually kind of like Andromeda. I'm kind of an Andromeda stan.
My issue with Andromeda was I played Andromeda because I was like, do I want to play Mass Effect? And they're like, oh, you can play Andromeda, and then you can just play the other games later. It doesn't really matter. Like, okay, cool. I play Andromeda. I'm like, this is fun. But something's creeping in the back of my head, like I'm not gonna like this. And then halfway through, I'm like, yeah, same mission, same enemy. I was like, okay. Now I see why people are upset about this. Like it was hitting me, like. But then when I started looking at like old gameplay of 1 and 2, I'm like, oh, now I see. Oh, it's a Fallout 4 situation. There's a lot of like polished it up, but a lot of cut content and a lot of like bugs that you can clearly see now. Like, oh, I see it now.
Yeah, I avoided a lot of the bugs because I played it later on once they had already ironed out a lot of it, and so I really didn't have much of that experience. Maybe a couple like cosmetic bugs or little things like that, but nothing that broke the game for me in a way where it was like it brought it down the experience too much. But I mean, it does get a little repetitive, and then the game at the end definitely feels like it kind of just like comes to a pretty quick close. Like I think they ran out of budget at the end there or something like that.
Or like DLC.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, there was that whole arc that didn't get found, right? The Solarian arc, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, there was the Solarian arc. There is the. I know they were talking about this. There was a Solarian arc. There was also the missing couple years, like what's going on Earth. Like you're supposed to find transmissions or do like missions, whatever. There's also more like exploring the world. There's also more exploring like the Geth and what they are, like how old they are. Like there's supposed to be a lot more. So I think the idea was supposed to be like a 5-10 year plan, like
Totally.
Like it was for Dragon Age. But then it just after the first month, and the sales kept dropping, they just cut it because you're shooting, you're not
Which
shooting
is
people who are,
pretty unfortunate in my opinion, because Mass Effect, the original, was a solid franchise. I would like more of it.
Yeah. The story is so good, and just like the connectivity of characters, I think it's just like pretty unrivaled that way, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite things, was actually doing all the side missions for my crew in Andromeda.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, these guys. The only issue I had was like some of the missions were kind of like eh. Like I think for like 2 of the missions were just basically fighting all pirates and just grabbing shit. I'm like, you just did this in the last mission.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine. Like it's fine, but the dialogue was great, especially when you find out a couple of the backgrounds of the characters. Like Jaw was like an actual scientist. He was actually like kind of reminded me of like the Orion Pax, like old school Optimus Prime before he was anything. He was like, oh, I was just a teacher. Like, oh wow, that's actually bad. Like, oh, that's a freedom fighter. You went from a teacher to being a freedom fighter.
Yeah.
To like basically realizing this is bad. Like, wow.
Yeah.
That's like old. That brings like old. Because I was like, huge like comics and all that. So I read the old old Transformers where he had Orion Pax. He was clerk. He was like, basically a clerk at a library. And
totally.
Then looking at him later, like, wow, he had a glow up and he went through some shit.
Yeah, I feel it. I really liked that whole race that you meet, the Jaws race, and like when you make first contact with them. Like that was a cool thing that you didn't really get to do too much of in Mass Effect. Like I do like some more of that just like diplomacy kind of vibe. So that was cool in Andromeda, and the worlds were just really beautiful in Andromeda, even though they were kind of sparse.
Oh yeah, they were beautiful.
Overall, that game.
And there was also hints that they were supposed to look for other races as well.
Yeah,
I think that was also the plan. So, but it was for a game that's like clearly they finished it later, and it came out a little like raw. They did finish it. They did fix it up. They did give like good endings. I played it. I liked it. And then looking at Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, I wanted to grab the Legendary Edition and play it just to try it out.
totally.
Yeah, highly recommend.
Heck yeah. All right, well, I'm going to jump over to you then, Sam. What you been nerding out on this week? What you been playing or watching or any of the like?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is going to take up the entire hour because I am going on from Warhammer from Boris recently, from I think today or yesterday's Horus Lupacau's Awakened model, which is anyone's a Warhammer fan. The Awakened Horus is basically when all 4 of the Chaos Gods gave their power and he went toe-to-toe with the Emperor. That's big, especially because of the fact that we're at the tail end of the Horus Heresy series in the books, which I'm so loving. There's that. There's
Hold on, I'm gonna stop you there because I got some questions. So, are you talking tabletop right there, or right, or one of the many games that have come out recently?
Tabletop
Right on.
And books and lore. I'm a huge lore fan. I love lore of any kind of gaming. Like
That's
I'll
awesome.
read through like old books or omnibuses to look at what's going on. So I got into Warhammer like a couple years ago, and lost track of it. I came back to it, and I'm so glad I did because right now everything is getting a little better. There's that. I started playing Xenoverse, which is Xenoverse 2 specifically, because I got that old Dragon Ball kick because I saw a trailer for the new Dragon Ball Super movie. I'm like, you know what? Fine, I'll play some Xenoverse to just scratch that itch.
Totally.
I'm doing that. Playing Fallout again. Me and my fiance love it because of building and all that. Kind of getting bored of it though, sadly, because I'm probably gonna hit 76, which I really am dreading. Still got bugs. Still raw.
I had some fun. I had a couple of weekends of fun with 76. So if that's all you really get out of it, do you have Game Pass? I assume.
Yeah, I have Game Pass. It's just the fact of when I play a game, I play it to completion, and Fallout 4 was so fun with the mods. It's so fun, but the issue is right now I have to cut back a lot of mods, which cuts back a lot of gameplay.
Sure.
I don't want to do that because some of these mods actually are improvements to the game.
Totally.
That going to 76, which I know is going to be bare bone, and just a lot of like, I'm regretting it, but I might go into 76 soon.
Yeah, and, you might be surprised. You might have some fun, especially these days. Like it's gotten a lot. I mean, sure, you're not gonna be able to necessarily do. Well, there might be some modding stuff, but some of the story stuff has gotten better. And the resource stuff and the building stuff I thought was actually pretty fun. And some of the cool boss encounters are actually a good time. So you might be a little pleasantly surprised. We'll see.
Yeah, and finally, I started to go back to comics.
Nice.
Was really disappointed with DC because if any, Miguel, I don't know if you saw or you heard recently, they did for the Hispanic Pride Heritage Month, which I think is like either September or October.
Yeah.
They did for Mexico. All three Hispanic characters there from Mexican descent had tamales in shopping bags and looked very stereotypically racist, and I was pissed. I was very upset. I was like, I'm Puerto Rican, but I saw that the way like you had Hawk Girl, who I think right now I think he's on a cruise. I forget her name, but she was basically at a taco stand with tamales up the fucking wazoo, just smiling. I'm like, you had Kyle Rayner, who was known to be Hispanic, literally holding the flag, but had tamales on him. I'm like, I was like, I get it. But it's like, you can go so much better than doing tamales and the flag. Because that is like, I hate to say it, 1950s levels of like a comic.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is...
Was it written by a Hispanic or a Mexican, or do you know?
Listen, we can talk about the Miles Morales issue with that one, but still, I'm not sure. I just saw the art. It was a cover art for a couple books to honor Hispanic Heritage Month, but I'm like, who okayed this?
Yeah,
like I know you guys are failing at movies. I know you guys are failing at governing right now because your whole thing is getting gutted. But who okayed this?
Like, I'd be curious to see that, because you'd think that someone of that heritage would do a little bit better of a job representing people in a not stereotypical way. So I'm wondering if they just got some like random person to do it.
Oh, it gets worse. They have Blue Beetle, who is straight like Jaime Reyes, who is like straight up like one of the coolest, like very big on Hispanic pride. Again, tamales, eating them, surrounded by him. I think that's the picture. I'm like,
it seems so generic. It just seems so like, I don't know. I
generic.
mean, I don't know,
like,
man. It
not,
just
like, ain't trying to be racist, but just trying to be like, I guess funny and cultural. But it's like, no, this is clearly. I was about to roast this. I'm like, this is clearly a white teenage girl's dream of what idea of like Hispanic Heritage Month for college.
Yeah.
I mean, community college level's bad. I'm like, oh no, sweetheart, you do not talk about my culture like this. I'm Puerto Rican, but I have Mexican friends. I have Mexican family. So, just being around AK families and family friends. But it's like, yo, this is like, I'm pissed looking at this.
Yeah, you're like, this isn't like you can do subtle representation that feels like. Feels like it does the culture justice without having to be so like this is what these people do. Look at that. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Miguel right now. Yeah, it's bad. But aside from that, just chilling, playing games, relaxing. Started getting back into writing again, which I'm so glad I am.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We've been talking about, or we talked about a couple episodes back, how both Jacob and I independently wrote some Pokemon fan fiction. So one day we're gonna do a read-a-thon on the podcast. So stay tuned for that special thing.
I am so glad Pokemon it was my generation, but I skipped through it, went to Yu-Gi-Oh, skipped through that, and went straight into Transformers and
right on
another anime. I went to Dragon Ball Z from that.
Oh yeah, Pokemon is definitely baby's first anime for sure. Baby's first RPGs.
That or Digimon.
Baby's first anime was like Ninja Scroll.
No, well that's true. You're right. Or like even what is it? Astro Boy?
The TV show was censored, right? I remember the TV show being censored. I don't remember the movie being censored.
Classic. All right. Right on. Well, that's a good vibe. New. Let's see. What have I been nerding out on this week? Oh yeah, I beat Elden Ring last night. Woo!
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, it was a long time coming. I'm so excited. I'm excited to kind of kiss it goodbye for a second, maybe. Actually, that's not true.
How was that fight? I know the last boss was like Mira, right? Whatever her name was.
Oh, I actually have to go back and beat Millennia. I'm going to do that this weekend. I was saving her for post-game fun just because I was like, let me just beat this so I just feel the satisfaction, and then I'll go back and bash my head against her.
I'll be honest with you, you better train that block trigger finger like it's nothing. You better train that dodge. Visibility frames, you better train that.
Yep.
He is hard.
Luckily,
I don't play. I can't play Souls games because I suck at them. But what I saw from her, I'm like, oh no, I will get destroyed for hours just trying to beat this one boss. Nope.
Luckily, the build that I went with for this playthrough was a bleed build, and she definitely is a little weak to that. So I've tried her a few times, and I've actually gotten her pretty darn close. But I put her down for a second to beat the final boss. But anyways, Miguel, you were saying something.
So it was your first time beating it?
It was. Jacob and I tried to get me there a couple times a few weekends ago, and then I had been out of town for a little bit, so I put it down for a little bit. And last night I was just feeling like I had it in me, so I jumped on, and yeah, I beat it in like 3 tries last night, which was good. Because I think I ended here. I got it for you right here. I'll put it up. I know it's a lot. I mean, for the first playthrough at least, it's a lot. I think my character was level like 156 by the end of it. And let me see, I got you right here. And I think I had put... hold on, it's got to pop up for me in a second. But it was, yeah, I was 156, I know, and I think like I have a solid like 153 hours or something in it, something like that.
Yeah, I would want a break too at that point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I stretched it out, right? It came out in when? February? It's August now. It's been a piece of my life. Yeah, so, you know. But, you know, exceptional game, I gotta say. You know, like, this is my first Souls game completing start to finish, and so I felt like an accomplishment last night, and I was... we had a podcast a couple weeks back with Omega Archetype, who's a big Souls fan, and he was saying how, like, after you complete your first Souls game, you just, like, totally understand what people are talking about with, like, the sense of accomplishment, and it really is kind of like a metaphor for, like, setting your intentions in life, and I know not to get too heady, but, like, you know... like it breaks you down so much, and it's like almost like martial arts, even though it's not near. Obviously martial arts are way more of a commitment because they're actually physical, but you know, it breaks you down so much, and you have to get so frustrated and then get through your frustration and actually learn it and get to the place of figuring it out. And so it totally like clicked in my head when I beat it last night. It was just like, yes, that rules. So that was that. Yeah, it felt good. I'm sure. Thank you. And now, like I said, I'm gonna probably go back and try and beat Millennia. Maybe have Jacob help me, and then I'm probably gonna put it down for a hot second. So that's good.
Yeah, you got your Bloodborne. That's another good one.
I played Bloodborne. Like, God, it's got to be 4 or so years ago now, and I was not ready for it. I think now if I went back, I could probably do better. I got really stuck, and I kind of rage quit that game, so we'll see.
No, I rage quit the first one. I was stuck in, I think, at Anne Orlando, the one area that's basically just free content that is like, hey, you can skip all this and not to go through here. The one, like, underground city that's just full of, like, plague toads and all this other crap. I'm like, I got stuck in there for so long. I remember raging because I'm like, what do I do in this? Who made this hellscape? Why are they so high level? Come to find out, oh, this is just Miyazaki being a douche and just putting this high level area into this literally right next to the low level area, just as a proof, like, go ahead, have fun.
Yeah. I mean, I remember even like in like a Zelda Breath of the Wild being like, all right, I'm leaving the plateau and then going straight for like one of the hardest areas and being like, nope, all right, I guess that's not where that goes. So I kind of like that in games sometimes, but yeah, Miyazaki is especially cruel in that way.
He's literally, his main thing is putting poisonous swamps in just to fuck with people. He's the biggest troll in one of the biggest trolls in gaming. I love the fact that he admits it.
Yeah, totally. Like I think it's he trolls because he knows, like, on the one hand, yeah, like he's kind of trolling people, but on the other hand, he knows like people figure out his stuff and he goes deep on stuff, so he gives you plenty of ways to like figure it out. And like that's why when you get the chance to like cheese bosses and stuff in that game, like do it, because he allowed you to, you know, or they allowed you to. So yeah, that was cool. Let's see, what else did I nerd out on this week? Oh yeah, Game of Thrones started House of the Dragon. you know, I have pretty low expectations going into the show, which I think is a good thing. I was just like, let's just spend some more time in the world. Hopefully they tell me a good, like, you know, medieval political intrigue kind of story, see some cool dragons. And so far it's been delivering on that. Like, you know, I don't know that it'll reach the same heights as, you know, the initial watching of Game of Thrones, but I think so far I'm enjoying it. It's just kind of nice to be back in that world, and the production value rules, you know?
Yeah, listen, as long as it's better than season 6, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Listen, anything is better than season 6. It could be hot garbage of just incest with the Targaryens, and it would have still been better with season 6.
There's a lot of incest.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Targaryens, they fuck everything.
That was that last season for that show was a hot mess. I was curious about the new show. I haven't watched it yet, so that might be on the list at some point. But I'm in no hurry.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to be. And it might actually benefit from waiting for all the episodes to come out and then just binging it. Like, I don't necessarily know that it's like appointment TV at this point. But I don't know. I watched the first 2 episodes and I was I was feeling like totally pleasantly surprised. Not surprised. I guess just I was like, all right.
You're like, okay, this isn't bad.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I actually am enjoying this. And like, you know, it has that classic Game of Thrones thing where I was like, there's way too many names at the beginning, but I'll get them by the end, you know. I don't have the benefit of having read the book from before, where I was like pretty good with Game of Thrones names because I had read the books and could associate them, you know. But yeah, we'll see.
It also helps the fact that they have George R. R. Martin helping them. Which, fun fact, the reason why season 6 was so bad was because they didn't listen to George R. R. Martin. That's actually a confirmed thing. The directors didn't listen to R. R. Martin's viewpoints or just adding things or changing things. So they just did their own thing just to end the season because it was rumored that those two were going to try to do movies and do other shows.
Yep.
I think the rumors going around that they was getting picked up by because they were doing good. They were good directors. I'm not gonna lie, but this you could tell they stopped giving a shit after the first 2 or 3 episodes. When they got after the war against the Night King, you could tell this dropped immediately. They're like, okay, let's just fuck it, end the game, end the show, let's go get some money, and that screwed them over.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, because I think they got dropped from a lot of those things that I think they originally got picked up on.
They got dropped because of the fact that R. R. Martin called them out. They got dropped for the fact that HBO was like, yeah, we regret this, and we're trying to. There were rumors about them remaking the season. I remember that for a fact too. They were saying we might remake the season or redo the season, but after that, they're like, this is way too much money. It was they canceled it because of the fact that there's no point.
Yeah, the momentum was not there, and it would have just cost them a bunch to maybe not have it work out, you know. So,
here's the thing. I think the idea was the fact of all the actors are basically said we're not coming back for this shit.
Totally, they'd spent so much of their lives on that, you know. Totally.
You had Kit Harington, who I'm not kidding, you signed a 10 plus year contract that his hair could not get cut. It had to keep growing. You had the girl who played Arya Stark, who I'm not kidding, was 5 or 8 years old, is now 15, close to 20 now. That's a lot of years.
Oh,
and
yeah.
For a lot of them to just do their own thing, allow them just to quit acting or start writing or doing whatever, and I'm just yeah.
I remember the Holdor actor. He was like a DJ on the side. That was his normal gig. It's pretty funny.
The person who played the Hound and the Mountain were both bodybuilders, so they got their own thing.
Yeah, and then you had the X-Men, the Sophie Turner and Arya Stark were both in X-Men, which is both probably a bad career move, but whatever.
I mean, not really. The remake or new timeline X-Men, they started off good with I think after Apocalypse was good, Days of Future Past was ass, and then Dark Phoenix was just
I liked what's the one I liked? I liked First Class. I thought that was pretty good.
First Class was good.
It's been a long time.
Days of Future Past, at watching it a second time or third time, you just like, yeah, they clearly just wanted to reboot the series, and not give it to Disney. Like you could tell this was like clearly their excuse to not give it to Disney, because the last one was like X-Men Origins Wolverine. They're like, yeah, we're not doing this again. And again, you could tell this is when Disney was popping off with the movies. They're like, yeah, let's reboot the series, get it back in the swing. And they did Days of the Past, and like, yeah, do this again, and like, let's just focus on the new timeline. And then, yeah.
You know, I wonder how much in Hollywood, like behind the scenes, like kind of just stab at like production companies and trying to like, I know so much of the Spider-Man stuff now with Morbius and Venom and Carnage and all that stuff. It's like, I bet you there's so much like kind of back alley, like we're just gonna screw this franchise over, but we've got to keep making movies so that Disney can't take it from us, and you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I bet you more than we think happens.
Especially with Sony, and remember, Fox was getting bought out by Disney, so they were trying to cut. Like they were trying to screw Disney over a lot as well.
Yeah.
Because Fox Media was basically being bought out, and and I think Fox Studios were like, yeah, no, we gotta do this shit. Nah. So there were a lot of bickering. I know Fox was trying to push back against it. They were trying to keep Fox Media or 20th Century Fox for a bit, but they weren't making money. And the movie, they did try. You could clearly show X-Men Apocalypse. They did clearly try to make a good movie.
Yeah.
And the movie they tried to make with it, you clearly see they were trying, but something wasn't there. And then, like after the whole Fantastic Four debacle, after that, they're like, you can clearly tell, like, you know what? Screw Disney. Let's make it to where by the time they have to remake this franchise, they're gonna have to either kill everybody and change everything up, or reboot everything to make them cost more money than it did for us.
Yeah, no doubt. Hike up the franchise just right at the end there. I heard a story about Lana Wachowski and the whole Matrix, what was it, Resurrection? I forget what it's called. Whatever the most recent one, which was really pretty awful. That like it was
the studio basic. Oh yeah, she wanted to be like trying to get away from this, and her sister's like, yeah, but let's just do it for the money. Like the whole rumors about that, like they did it for money. And to get because Warner's been actually contacting them for years. They're on their asses for about 3 years. That was the whole thing. People don't understand. Like after Revolutions, a Revelation. I forget what was the last
Revolutions. You're on it. Yeah.
What Wachowski did a lot for Warner, from them helping with like the whole 3D and like slow mo. They're one of the people. The reason why slow mo was so big.
Yeah, totally.
Because look how much they deal with this. And now the slow-mo, the gunplay, the fight scenes, Wachowski started a lot, and the production company did a lot for Warner Brothers. But the issue was they wanted to be their own thing, but Warner kept blocking. That was the rumors going around. Warner kept blocking them or trying to blackball them, and that's why one of the Wachowskis turned transsexual, because the fact they were basically confined into that form. So the idea of them changing and trying to get out of it was the idea of being free. I think one of Wachowski's sisters confirmed that. And the other twin basically said, you know what, I want to be like my sister, I want to be free. And that's how they both became that. Which, again, led into them being hounded again to where, like, you know what, screw this, let's just kill this franchise in the best way possible so that they can get off our asses.
Yeah, I think like that was the story I was reading. That was, you know, kind of like it was essentially her trying to be a big like F you to the studio, and we're like, watch, we're gonna kind of do this sort of I don't know, like just this bailout by like kind of just crushing this whole thing into like a weird kind of meta commentary on the situation we're in right now. So, you know, it was a trip. Yeah, it was a total trip.
Yeah, it was the biggest middle finger to, because the Wachowskis are fun enough fact they are actually gamers. They actually published. Totally. They actually did the Matrix Online. They did a bunch of the Matrix games to try to implement all that movement and all that. They're big gamers, and they basically hate the way gaming situation was. They basically hate it. They openly say they hate remake. They hate games being remastered or basically being half baked, and the game companies being like greedy as hell. Like that's their main thing. To where this movie was basically a middle finger to that. It was a middle finger to EA. It was a middle finger to Warner Brothers. It was a middle finger to recuts and reshoots and all that. It was just like this is how it really is.
Yeah,
it's not fun.
I wish the movie that they had made out of that had turned out to be a little bit more impactful to me. But you know what? It's all right.
That wasn't their. You can clearly tell that wasn't their idea.
Of course,
their idea was let's just make an out there movie like we did in the past, but let's just add a little bit of like middle fingers to where we're clearly showing we are done.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
are done making movies. We're producers. We're writers. We're this, but we're not directors. We're not going to make a big franchise so you can mooch off. Yeah.
Yep.
That was their main thing.
Well, coming off that, I guess we could do we're gonna do a quick little sectors topic this week. Since we're started a little late, I'll try and make it a little snappier. But since it happens to transition from that, my topic was gonna be this Last of Us remake, or Last of Us Part 1 that just came out here real quick. So coming off of that, I was just kind of thinking, looking at reviews that were coming in today and thinking about my experience with The Last of Us and all that stuff. And I don't know, I was just feeling kind of weird about it where, I think for all intents and purposes, this is like probably the definitive way you want to play this game in 2022, obviously. But I just was feeling like, I don't know, it's one of those things where, there's only so many resources and developers in the community or in games and, games production these days, and Naughty Dog is some of the best of them. But I was feeling like, this just didn't, for me, need to be made right now. Like I played Last of Us Remastered on PS4 not that long ago, like maybe 2 years ago max.
Yeah.
And it, it was still The Last of Us. It's still one of my favorite games of all time. And yeah, maybe like it could use some frame rate and all that kind of. But I just felt, if this culture of wanting everything to be remade and remastered and stuff, then we would be potentially having this team that worked on this game giving us a new game or some new story or new creativity or a whole new world to embark on a journey with. And I was just feeling a little like, why did this have to happen? And I understand the business reasons why, like the show's coming out and all of that kind of stuff, and I imagine that they want people who haven't played The Last of Us to be able to go play this new PS5 version. But I don't know, I was just wondering how you guys felt about it, and do you think you guys will pick this up? Have you guys played The Last of Us before? And I don't know, what do you guys think?
Miguel, I want you to go first because I'm the most negative of this entire thing. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut, let you guys praise it, because I'm going to rip this new one.
I wasn't even aware that they just made a remake until you said something.
Right? Yeah.
Because I honestly didn't think. I'm a little surprised that they would do that.
Right? It's so quick. It's such a quick turnaround.
Yeah, I'm not.
So I'm
trying to keep my mouth shut.
I'm not feeling. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
So I think the PS4 version was perfectly fine, and it is still one of my favorite games of all time.
Of course. I mean, the story is the story, right? And the characters are the characters, and even the gameplay is still pretty darn close to holding up,
And as far as remakes go, I'm like, if you're gonna remaster a game, okay, maybe I might do it.
Yeah.
But like, when you're gonna like remake it, I'd rather you just make something new.
Me too. Or
like Final Fantasy VII remake, I get it. I always kind of wanted like a remaster of the game.
Yeah.
But what I ended up getting was a completely different game, and I get that. And they're fleshing out story and stuff. It's a little different, but it's almost. One of my friends said it was kind of like a reboot, because it kind of is, in essence, in some ways.
Yeah.
But
totally.
I'm just, there are things that kind of wanted to play again from the original that I don't think they're going to put in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and the last thing I'll say, and I'll toss it over to you, Sam. The other thing that just kind of rubs me the wrong way, and to be honest, I don't even have a PS5 right now, so it's not even really affecting me right at this moment. But like, this remake that really, I mean, it does a huge facelift, and there is a lot of changes for all intents and purposes, a lot of potential improvements, I think. But it's coming out as a $70 title, and it's a very big difference when it's like something between like the Resident Evil 2 remake that like is like turning that game into a third person over the shoulder, like more akin to Resident Evil 4, which when you play those two games, like the original Resident Evil 2 versus Resident Evil 2 remake, like that is a fundamentally different experience, where this really isn't. Like it's just kind of from the ground up remaster is what it feels like, because it's still The Last of Us, still the same game, which is a phenomenal game, no doubt. But I don't know. That just really rubs me the wrong way, and I certainly would not pay $70 for this. And they could have just put this into PS Plus, which they just revamped and sold it that way. Anyway, Sam, I'm gonna kick to you. You can.
I I'll say this. I love Last of Us 1. I love the DLC of the original.
Totally.
Last of Us 2, I despise. For various reasons. Mostly because of the fact that I hate all the characters. You kind of basically made all the characters not likable.
Totally.
I kind of don't, like, again, the whole Abby situation, I kind of get. But in lore, in the game, it's confirmed that they had experimented on other kids. They killed kids trying to find a cure, and none of them were, like, some of them are just like Ellie, getting multiple times, not even had an issue. But to stop fungus, you can't cure a fungus.
Yeah.
You can eliminate it, but you cannot cure it. It is not a virus, it's a fungus. That's what people think when out. I didn't like her. It would have been better if you had an option, honestly. The option, like, do I kill Joel? Because you fight, and the admission, you fight, you help Joel, you track him down, you find out he's a good person. But the moment it's like, oh, I suddenly killed him. No, you don't need to. Because if you would have asked him, like, why'd you do it? He would have said, because they were going to kill my daughter.
Yeah.
And that moment, he would have snapped her out of it. I bet you $10 if he had said that, he would have been like, your daughter. Like, well, you know, close thing I had to her daughter, I lost everything. She was a little girl who was basically being forced into the situation. I loved her as my daughter. I still love her as my daughter. I don't want to lose her.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose her. Because for so long, the world took away everything I had. It took away my daughter from the first. If you would take time to show that, I think it would have made things better in the sense that we, again, this whole rant about Last of Us 2, but anyway,
all good. Yeah.
Last of Us 1 remake. Anyway, to say, I didn't like Last of Us 2 for a lot of reasons. I didn't like the gameplay and the ending. I didn't like anything of it. I'm sorry.
I get dragged on really long, too.
It dragged on. The game was glitchy. Story got confusing. They said, oh, we killed that here, but she's alive here. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, you saw the chick, you know her face, you hunted her down, you killed all her friends douches. Like, honestly, no one really cared for anybody but, like, one person.
Yeah.
Who had scenes that were just, like, kind of cringy and kind of, like, you need to be in there. Like, there's some things you could have done differently. But
totally.
That. Last one remake is a cash grab. I'm sorry to say. It doesn't change anything. I've looked up the differences. It changes, like, maybe some field of view, some, like, movement action, some, like, different... But it's basically the same game. That's what the facelift. But want to see a good remake? Look up the Spyro remakes. That's a remake.
Yeah, Toys for Bob did a great job with both of those and the Crash ones too. I'm not a big fan of Crash, but yeah, for sure.
And Medieval, look at that. That got a huge facelift.
Yeah, totally.
Even better, look up Halo Remastered. Look how beautiful that looks. Halo's Reach engine, look how much they different. And then Halo 2, beautiful. Like
totally.
You said, Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes. Changed the game completely, changed the story completely, but kept the main focus.
Yep.
There's that, and then what this is clearly a Saints Row remake. So, hey, let's get the Saints Row 4 new presidential edition. Like, that's all you're doing is just upping the graphics by like 1 decimal. You're adding all DLC for free. Just paying $60. You're basically just saying, let's get some more money out of it. It's nothing new. It's not worth $7. It should have been a free title, like a plus thing.
Totally. That's why I'm like, you have this new service that you're trying to like kind of promote to be like a rival to Game Pass, and you know, obviously they're not doing all of their first party titles day and day. It's not their strategy. It's not the same thing. They're not like basing their whole like kind of economy like Xbox is around it. But wouldn't this be such a good like at least one shot in the arm to be like, everyone go play Last of Us again? It's on PS Plus. Sign up for PS Plus Extra, whatever. You know, that would still feel a little money hungry to me, but at the same time, it would be like, yeah, that's a totally great strategy. And now everyone who already wants a reason to get into PS Plus is gonna go do it. You know, so
now instead of paying like $70, you're paying $17.99 or whatever, or $20 or whatever it was for all these other games.
Yeah.
This new game. That's what I love about Game Pass. It's like, hey, you're paying $16.99 for all this games, but you're getting old games, new games, remake games, all that for free.
Yeah, that would be more digestible, then, you know.
Yeah, and that's why I like the Game Pass more. Like, it gives you new games automatically. They'll take them all for a month. But hey, if you want to buy it, guess we're giving you a $10 to $50
discount. Yeah.
Install.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect game. That's perfect. If you would have done that, I would have mind paying $20 for Last of Us Remake, just because they're in Part 1. They're going to remake Part 2, which is like, why? Your Part 2 was already well liked, and you know, had won the Game Award, which everyone thought was not deserved. Again, I not against Naughty Dog. They're a great company. Gil Gonkum, I hate him. He's abused a lot of creators who were against the game. Like, if you look at the whole system with that, he attacked a couple creators, calling them racist, homophobic, all that. One of them was a transgender YouTuber who I follow, who I love. She gave her account. She gave her cute.
Wow.
I'm afraid of that.
Crazy.
He felt disrespected because she was transgender. There was a story about transgender she didn't like the fact that it felt forced. A transgender person tells you you're doing something wrong and you're going to block them, you're going to say that you're come back up on their almost killing their channel. No, I'm not going to support you. That's why I didn't buy it. I took the reviews. I figured that I think the fact it's like a point. It was a great game. but it's not worth the price.
Yeah.
It's not worth the price. It's not nothing. It's not a Halo 2 remake, which we got like a couple years ago. Look how big that change.
Yeah, no, I totally feel you. I mean, literally let you go back and forth between the two modes, and you can see like the crazy, like the old version versus the front version, and it's a total difference. We got OMG's in the chat. He's saying we're frozen. Should I stop the stream and start the stream again? Would that fix it? You think, Jacob? Time at me real quick. I'm just double checking.
I'll be in freeze.
No, we're at the audio, so I'm just making sure. But I'm just reaching out to him real quick. He just jumped in and was chiming in real fast. I'm looking it up while we're doing. In the meantime, while I do that, we think we kind of get it. It's the Last of Us feeling a little money grabby, and like we're all probably not so into it. So we'll see. But I'm gonna switch off my sector and pass the floor on to someone else who wants to go.
I'll let Sam go.
Heck yeah.
Great. Well, I'm gonna talk about this. A couple weeks ago, there was a D&D announcement, which is D&D Plus. No one really talked about it on the podcast, but what do you guys think? You guys tabletop players, D&D, the D&D 5.1 or whatever it's called?
I played 5e before. I don't have a current game going on right now. We had one during the pandemic, but it was it fell off when we kind of fell off, and we got back into it. And one of the people who was pretty mainstay of it moved away. So I haven't played it in a couple of months, but I was playing Star Wars: Age of the Empire, which is like a kind of version of that.
Okay. It's well since I played 5th edition. I think I saw Jacob talking about new stuff that they put out. So it's interesting. I'd like to play. I'd like someone to run a game.
Yeah. Yeah, but just to clarify what's going on, D&D Beyond is doing the following, where they're going to be, you're basically going to overhaul a lot of stuff this time. They're testing a lot of things. One thing they're testing is make your own maps and have your own picture on the thing on a small 3D scale. So you can Unreal Engine, which is going to be with your own characters. They're going to look into Unreal Engine like gameplay. You're going to see characters actually play all that. They're going to actually make it to combat moves and all that, like possibilities from that stuff. They're going to be remaking a lot of the old, like first edition through whatever edition of D&D books, creating them, adding them onto D&D 5e, revamping a couple things, but also going to make it to where all these rules that they're going to add, all these new features, are all going to be, yes, you can play, but you also keep the old school, like they're actually compatible with this. They're actually saying rules can be applied. Rules be applied there. You can use whatever rules.
Well,
you can make some math, you can add in, change things, you can add a whole system, like a event happening in your game, you can add these rules, add this magic, that you could do a lot where they're saying it's very valuable to the system.
Does this
Trying to make it
software?
No, it's going to be actual like gameplay, like the actual tabletop. Like,
yeah, totally.
Are all going to be digital. They're going to be majority digital, but you can also buy the books and all that. They're just making it easier for DMs. They're making it easier for players. They're making it easier for just to get into the game. They're trying to make it more accessible to new players. Because of the I could.
So there's a digital aspect to it as far as Unreal Engine, and so are you going to need like monitor, or how's that going to work?
It's tablet. From what I saw, you can use an tablet. You can use.
You're still going to have pictures. I guess what I'm trying to get at is I feel like they're like kind of getting away. It sounds like they're getting away from the actual tabletop aspect.
No, they said they're going to do it, but this is just for the online thing because of the pandemic. They saw a huge spike in their usage where, hey, you don't think you can, but if they get paid for miniatures.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have to feel it out, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm worried that the whole reason I like to play a game like that is because you're around the people that you're playing it.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't like playing it like when someone's running a game, like I'm at home, and I didn't like that personally. I played a game during the pandemic. I didn't ever play. I prefer to be in a room with people.
Yeah, because you can't. There's the issue with there's a couple of issues with doing it through digital, where you can't see the player's reaction. You can't mood is different. Like that. I get that, just because you're in your house. Like there's difference between a handmade DM table and all that, and they're the idea of miniatures, all that. AKA you can see Critical Role. They have the digital, but they also have in-house gameplay. The 16 places, that's great. But there are also people who are very camera shy, which I kind of agree. There are people who are camera shy, and people like that, which is great for them. They're trying to get where it's accessible for people who are shy, people who are not sociable. They're trying to make it easier for them. By the time they get to the point that want to be sociable, it's easier. They're trying to do that more. I'm mix and match. I play digitally, I play in store, I play whatever. It's for me. This is something this would be great for me. But digitally, I have friends who want to play, but they can't. Now just use it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So you said there was some sort of subscription base to this. Is that what it was sounding like, or was it?
I think there's a subscription base. I'm not sure. I didn't. After a bit, I kind of tuned out of it. So
sure.
I think so much stuff. I'm this is gonna be huge. I'm thinking like we saw in the chat. We look at the tabletop and we talked about this. I would think it's a good idea. We should have issues with it because as someone who played 5e when it started and then seen it continue, I have issues with the fact that a lot of new books add a lot of stuff, but they don't clarify a lot of things.
Sure. Or
they're reading a lot of stuff and making it more price-like. That's it. Like they're changing with they're adding like maybe 2 pages to already 60-page book. They make it like 7 pages, but in reality it's just 2 pages, so just content.
Yeah.
No content. Like I'm worried about we worried about that. We're worried about like them just not really clarifying because there's some rules that even now have issues. Like some spells have issues. Like where you have to like ask the DM like we say DM where they're not. There's a lot of issues with that. There's
a lot of wiggle room and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost feel like maybe they write them like that on purpose, just so that the people can decide how to play it that way. But I think it would be better if it was a little bit more clear. That way you don't get into, a 30-minute skip up one particular.
No.
I remember getting, that just reminds me of a story about when one of the players got stuck on a map. I think it was like I think because they had like items that basically made a constitution save like higher. But we do a system on like digitally build a 0, which like you have too many.
Yeah.
You have too many fucking things where you should be not being able to. We had to actually fight if we were like trying to figure out the new system where the DM and the tyrants make them re-roll it, and they have to like. There's no way the paladin with a level +5 main, +2 item, and +3 item. It basically makes like a plus, 15 plus like 13, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Plus 13 for charisma, basically a 0.
Yeah.
So that was the whole thing going to go through. But if they fix that, there's some other things. It'll be easier, hopefully.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, it's cool to see that they're trying to like at least get flexible and like I do think a lot more characters have influxed since the pandemic and seeing all the critical role popularity and all that kind of stuff. So it makes sense that they kind of got to make some switch ups here and there. And so are they officially calling it 5.1? Is that what the new version?
I think it's called that, or 5 plus, something like that. I forget. It's probably something. Again, after the name, two now thing, I was more worried about like the actual gameplay, the rules, and all that. Like, how are they going to change this? Because they changed human recently to where they took the stats of human variant and decided to human, I believe, which is like...
yeah, I feel it, yeah.
Like, when I say variant human, usually like a pinch-in. They're always like think the person or the creature. Like, anytime variant creature they had a think, like, there was always something weird about them that, like, they're human, but there's something off about them. That's why they're very human. Like, they're like, oh, their ears are slightly pointy, and they kind of have an elf with their human. Like, they got the heritage and all that. Like, they're mostly, like, again, it's other like that, and, like, think about, like, oh, wait, there's also, like, transformations. Like, recently this was, the Curse Rod module, the Root Curse Rod, which was, they added, lineages, and one of them was Dampier, and you can actually make your turn like this. That's cool. Which is, some stats will be taken from your main character, but some stats will be removed. Like, there was something to do. Looking at that, like, there's going to be a lot of discussion on the character. We have a character is. It's like, if you have that one person just being a dick, or somebody being annoyed, it's going to make them both, like, fight each other. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for, like, I don't know, people either overstep or just making things a little too complicated, and if the DM experienced enough, they're going to be, like, having to figure it all out. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, that's cool. That's cool to get some insight into that, for sure. Miguel, what you got for sector vibes this week?
It kind of ties in my wife knew. I was going to ask you guys if there was any show that did get canceled that you would have liked to have seen not get canceled.
Yeah, sure. You want to start, Sam? I got one in the bag for sure. Oh, dude, took it.
No, I wasn't around that. I wasn't like into that at the time. I was very shy about what I liked of it. So when I recently been doing work as this, going on Hulu, taking random shows, whatever, I've been like Blue Bloods and NYPD Blue, which I'm a huge cop fan of that. I love the after coffee, human beings and not douches. So, but then I saw Firefly. I'm like, I've seen Serenity. I really think weird and forgetting halfway through because I love the story. Hey, let me watch this. And I'm like, oh, this is really good. This is really interesting. Yeah. And then getting stuck into that, I'm like, why was I stuck into that for one season? And I'm looking at the reviews. I'm like, this was better than what's going on with modern day Fox. Doing better than anything else. Like, why was this canceled? And it's like, oh, I see. It's Fox. Look up, there were other shows that Fox had one season or only 2 or 3 seasons. They constantly because of the fact that either they know what the fuck they're doing or they just feel like, don't feel like doing anymore.
I'd actually forgotten about that show, but I would agree with you in theory. It's a good show. My only issue is I don't like Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
He's a complete D-bag, in my opinion. I saw him at Comic-Con once, and I didn't like him. So
especially with the whole Ray Fisher and all that with DC. Yeah.
Later, yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, the show itself I thought was very, very good, especially for the time. And also, I had friends who would kind of compare it to, what was it, Cowboy Bebop?
Yeah.
It kind of was like that. It was kind of like a live-action Cowboy Bebop.
I totally feel that.
I had that and really dark moments.
Yeah.
That kind of based in the reality of like, yeah, this would happen. Like some of the rogue settlers were just like, yeah, these are basically backwater worlds that are similar to the Old West, and there's a lot of people who are not good people. Like, they do some fucked up things. And I did like the aspect of, yeah, when you get to the Central Planets, yeah, there's going to be corruption and stuff like that, but there's a reason why there's corruption is because corruption is what makes money go around, and they don't give crap as long as the money there. And, now, I watched that, I actually watched it, like, oh my god, this is a fucking show and a great fucking movie. We watch everything.
Totally.
Like, wow. Yeah. Wow, this is wow. Like, 12-year-old me missed out on a huge, great movie.
And you can see how they've been given another chance, another season or two, and like a little bit of a bigger budget. They could maybe like done some even cooler stuff. So,
they were. I think again, Joss Whedon gets the director and writer, but he's one of the writers. I kind of like the fact that other writers did a lot of better things.
Sure.
Like he did directing a lot of that, but there's like what I liked about Serenity was like I was just gonna go a tangent with like watching Firefly, watch Serenity. Serenity felt like this is what happens if Josh didn't have to do Fox. Like I honestly think Serenity felt like what if Josh could grab a whole season. You can tell their story bitch. If this was a season, if Serenity was a whole season, you can tell this would have been season 1, which was the main issue, trying to robbing the areas, having money, dealing with outlaws, dealing with Reaver's rise and getting closer.
Sure.
And then season 1 would have ended with them finding Miranda.
Yeah.
Season 2 would have been, or season 1 would have been ending with I forget the character's name. The sister basically going crazy
totally.
and kidnapping them. That would have been great season end. Season 2 was them trying to stop her from moving the ship to this place. They're going to know what the hell they're going, and ending with them basically finding Miranda. And it's like that would have been great season. So you see like them fighting the Reaver, them running from the Alliance while dealing with this crazy fucking assassin, them doing this, and then ending with the other blind planet.
Yeah,
like,
I totally see it.
This is what they were going to do. This is clearly what would have been the season Firefly just done to it.
Yep.
We got the movie because it could easily have just not done anything. And just
yeah, I mean, books were good too. I kind of read some of the books and the comics. They were good, but the new comics were kind of shit, and everyone hates them.
Oh, really? I haven't seen them at all. Yeah, I feel it.
Oh, so the new comics are basically come by different publishing. Dark Horse is doing the original, but then Dark Horse, you know how the whole comic book collapse happened. For Dark Horse, that sell out of their IPs to make big money.
Yeah.
And they basically sold out to a company that had no idea where they're going and screwed up the way they lost. They lost money and canceled years.
Feel it.
So.
I got another one. I mean, it's old news now, and in a lot of ways, I think probably everyone on the show ended up just fine. We got lots of good stuff from them, but I remember Freaks and Geeks getting canceled, and I was bummed about that at the time.
Never saw that.
It's a great show. It's totally worth a watch. You get to see like all of those. What's that director? Judd Apatow, like all of those comedians who have like since like and like totally skyrocketed.
Was that animated show centered in like a college or high school where it was like a bunch of like I forget what it was.
No, it's live action. It's kind of about like, here they go, nerdy kids and then kind of rejects of the school.
Carlini, James Franco,
Seth Rogen. Yeah, the guy who's that's pretty much everyone you see in like Knocked Up and 40-Year-Old Virgin and all that kind of stuff. They're all in it.
It's great. You should definitely give it a watch.
Yeah, and it's this one. Yeah, look up, and I think it's on. I forget what it's on. It's on that something. Maybe HBO.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was streaming.
I think it might be. I forget. Maybe not. Maybe it wasn't. Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. They might have axed it, but yeah, I know that that got that got cut pretty, and all those guys ended up going and doing cool stuff, so whatever. But yeah, that was a pretty good one.
No, that's a very good recommendation. I didn't even think about it, and very next week.
That's good that you got your head on the quick pull. I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head, really.
Right now, I remember vaguely. I don't remember the name of the movie, unfortunately. It was pretty cool. Like, I believe it was supposed to be a pilot, but it got released on Netflix as a movie. And you watch the whole thing, and it ends, and you're like, oh, this was going to be a show.
Mm-hmm. What's it called?
I don't remember.
What's the
They were going into, like, different dimensions.
Oh. Was it... It might have been Sense8?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
That's possible. Oh, Archive 1, too. That didn't get picked up.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. Interesting.
Going by my...
That's alright. Well, that's good. I mean, I have tons of video games that have been canceled that I could say shouldn't have been canceled, but...
Yeah. Oh, wait, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. I didn't know what happened to that.
I don't know. There was a couple seasons of that. I like the first one. I remember that. Yeah.
Oh wait, that was my Just Leading thing. Yeah, never mind.
Victorious for the one season canceled.
Yeah, no doubt. No
You know,
doubt.
I think that's 3 or 5 seasons canceled.
Yeah, I think that went on for a while, sure.
I think it was Paranova was a show that started off like really good, but just failed out. Which is basically, it sucked to the fact that it was basically almost like a like a Avatar. Like if it was a movie, like it was like set path, like they go on path, but there's also the fact that they have the humans basically fighting these dinosaurs, but also fighting like humans from other past convoys. Like it's a huge, like confusing thing. Basically became lost and just died out. I remember that. I think something with that. They could have done something with Lost. They could have done something with a lot of shows.
Lost, I love the first like 3 seasons, and then it just really kind of went downhill from there.
Come on, that's when it gets good.
I mean, it gets ridiculous and pretty fun, I guess, but yeah.
You say that, then we have 13 seasons of Walking Dead, and no one hates that.
Yeah, we definitely don't need that.
Yeah. You know what episode that can have? Like the Blade TV series.
Oh, I've never watched that.
What?
I might have to find that somehow.
It was ass, but it was cringy good. Like this was, surprisingly, it was the first TV anime Marvel property.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It was like a rated R Marvel property. That I think Fox had like 1 season. It had like I forget the name. He's a rapper. I forget his name, but he was actually a rapper who loved the series. Actually, like worked out. Had like the guns are all like staked and like all that. They did out that show.
Interesting.
It died out.
Word.
Yeah, look it up. It actually.
I'll look it up for sure.
All right, unfortunately, that is where our audio cuts out for the rest of the episode. Pretty much unusable. So I did my best to get us through this one, and I hope you enjoyed what content there was. Stay tuned to the next couple episodes. Now that Jake was back, it was all good going forward for the next week. So I will figure out my stuff on my end, and we'll make it work. Anyways, thanks again for joining us on Neon Pocket Dimension. For my co-hosts Sam and Miguel, thanks for stopping by. Give us a follow on the social channels, and if you're watching here on YouTube, you already know. So NPD Squad on on Twitter, and Neon Pocket Dimension on Twitch. All right, thanks for stopping by, y'all. Peace.